All right, and we're recording. Hello to anyone that might be watching this on YouTube once I upload it, or listening on the podcast once it gets going. This is my What Do I Know About Actual Play game, and this particular game that we're playing tonight is Eberron Above the Fold. We are using the Quest RPG in order to play this, and all of our characters are going to be associated with a newspaper, which is going to be the Daily Bridge, and they're going to be located in the Lower Ward of Sharn. So now that we got all of that out of the way, my name is Jared Rasher. I'm going to be your game facilitator, and I will have everyone introduce themselves. So let's start with PK.
Hey, I am PK Sullivan, and I am going to be playing Kithra, the shifter spy and investigative reporter.
All right. And is there anything that people should know you from, PK?
I am a game designer. You might know me from Fate of Cthulhu and the very soon to be released in hardcover, or not hardcover, but released in print, Fate Condensed.
Awesome. I'm really looking forward to that. John, would you care to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm John Carney, and I am playing Charples Canitar, gnome magician, who has left the assassin life behind to become an intrepid reporter. You might know me from such things as QuakeCon. I was involved in that organization for a very long time, building up the LAN gaming scene in my younger days. These days, I'm just a big giant nerd, particularly if you measure by the pound. So that's me.
And Bob, what about you?
I'm Bob Everson, and I am playing Kithra Broadfist, a dwarven fighter who is involved with this ragtag group as bodyguard / muscle in case things get dicey.
All right.
And you might know me from Jared's Friday night Streets of Avalon game, or Gnome Stew, or Encoded Designs, or Misdirected Mark podcast.
Especially if you pay attention to proofreading bylines. And we have a special guest who is not playing tonight, but she is observing and will be joining the campaign. And why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm Angela Murray. I am the most common host of the Gnomecast, an author at Gnome Stew, and co-owner of Gnome Stew. Just Gnome Stew.
And is Gnome Stew. All right. And yes, in the future, we will be getting Ange up to speed and in this game. But for tonight, she's going to watch as our three intrepid newspaper people go through their adventure. What we're going to start on is we're not going to zoom into any of these characters. We're going to zoom out and look into Sharn's lower wards. And Sharn's lower wards were the actual first place where there was a city, and everything else was kind of built up around it, up to and including eventually the hovering towers that are at the very crown of the city. And where we're at in the lower wards, there is a mix of people that are poor and destitute. There's a lot of working class, and there's a lot of people just scrabbling to get into the middle class and maybe make it to one of the upper wards. So there's a mix of different people, but there isn't a ton of wealth present here. And so what we see here is there's a weathered middle-aged half-elf man that has a goatee, and he's wearing like worn clothes, and he's got an apron on because he is setting out various different broadsheets and things on his onto his wooden stand. And as he is doing all of this, you notice he's looking around, and eventually this cart comes rolling down the road. And on the back of the cart, someone grabs a bundle of newspapers and throws them to the corner. So our newspaper stand operator leans over, picks it up, sets them on the stand, and cuts loose the top one. And we see a headline that says, "Detectives find missing gold. The Black Arch Garrison is rocked by charges of corruption. Funds earmarked for less lethal crowd control tools spent on surplus last war armaments." And the byline is by Laurel Lightning, who is an associate of all of our newspaper people here. The half-elf puts down the newspaper and kind of gets ready to go to work. And as the cart starts rolling down the street, all of a sudden it starts picking up speed and moving faster and faster. One of the wheels pops off and it flips and crashes. Now this was an enchanted wagon, and all of a sudden it just went haywire and crashed. It's the early morning, so nobody was hurt, but it's definitely a strange occurrence. On that note, we're going to cut to everyone and see what they're doing at the moment. So, what would Mac be doing right now?
You said it was early morning?
Yep.
Okay. So the morning dailies are just going out. I think Mac is getting a sandwich at some corner stall on his way into the office. You know, he was probably up late finalizing his story for the night editor, so it could go to print for the morning edition. He's looking a little tired, but he generally always looks a little tired and disheveled. So he's on his way to the office, munching on a sandwich. Probably going to a place he knows frequently. I don't know that it would be the Peppered Beast cart.
Yeah,
that's
that
a little
doesn't seem like a
spicy for
morning breakfast. Yeah.
it's no. This is probably more of like a rather than a cart, more of like a window shop that serves out onto the sidewalk. So, you know, just eggs, some bacon, nice hearty bread, and then a cup of whatever stimulating beverage is appropriate in Eberron.
All right. Yeah, and there would be coffee available, and since the Daily Bridge is kind of in the lower, the southern outer ring, or inner ring, I should say, of the lower wards, the Granite Hills is where there's a lot of shops, so that's a good place to be able to grab your morning food as you head in there.
Yeah, it's probably on a direct line between my apartment, as small and shoddy as it is, and the Daily Bridge.
So as you're walking there, you see one of the street lights, and the street lights normally would be going out at this point in time, but the sun's already up and it's bright enough here, but all of a sudden it flares really bright, and there's, you know, unfortunately, like anybody that was looking straight at it, this thing flared like the sun for a moment. Is there anything that Mac would like to do at the moment?
Let me see. He's gonna look around and see if he can't find anything else acting weird, because streetlights are, like, I imagine, just like in any civilization, the streetlights here are going to be very stable, very very not dangerous technology.
Yeah, definitely.
Like like streetlights don't get deployed unless they're reliable.
Yeah, and
Aren't
especially
going to burn down the city.
Especially like in Granite Hills where there's all these shops. This is not where you have your least functioning things. So since you're looking around, I think this is a good time for random chance to see if anything will come up. So why don't you give me a D20 roll?
All right. That is nice and average. That is a 10.
All right. So a 10 in this case is going to give you a tough choice. So I'm going to say, basically, at this moment, as you're investigating things and looking around, your hearing picks up a something that almost sounds like kind of mechanically tinny music off in the distance, but at the same time, you notice that you can see what amounts to like an emergency switch where you can pull out the fluid that is causing the light on the lamppost to be going out. So you'll have to choose between either grabbing that that fluid out of the light and making sure this isn't flaring and blinding anyone anymore, or following up on the music box sounding noise that you heard?
Oh, I'm definitely following the music box.
Okay. So the people in the crowd
Yeah.
are kind of like, screaming and yelling and upset by this, but eventually they get the idea not to look into the light.
I mean, it's not that I necessarily think people are smart, but it's not my job to protect them either. I'm here to root out corruption. I don't think this lamppost is an extreme example of public corruption. I'm more interested in what's gone wrong. I'm sure
All right.
it'll be a good story.
So as you're going around the corner following the noise of that, we're going to cut to Kithra. And what does Kithra do this early in the morning?
First thing I do when I get up in the morning is take a stone to my axe, make sure everything's nice and sharp, ready to go, because you never know when you're gonna have to take your axe to somebody. Then, in this particular instance, I think I'll get up and make my way out, similar to Mac, find some breakfast on the way into the office, where I'm going to see, what is up today and what is currently going on.
So I am going to, say, as you're kind of heading into the office there, you're probably coming around the Forge Light Towers, which are next to the center bridge. And as you're coming around the Forge Light Towers, this is where we saw that magical cart that went out of control earlier. And we're going to switch the camera angle to the opposite side, and as the cart hits the barrier and flips up in the air, it is up in the air above Kithra. What is Kithra going to do to react to this?
Oh, damn. I'm going to get out the way.
All right. Do you have any special abilities that would help you get out of the way?
I do not.
All right. Then let us go to the randomizer. Give me a d20 roll if you would.
Booyah. Ooh, a fine-looking 16.
Ooh, that is good. So that is a success. It is not an extraordinary success, but it is a success. So Kithra sees this wagon go flying up in the air, realizes this is not a good thing to have land on top of them, and manages to roll out of the way as the cart hits the ground and makes a gigantic crashing noise as one of the wheels comes rolling later because it flew off first.
Yeah.
And you see the unconscious human that was driving this cart, and they're just completely disoriented right now. They're bleeding a little bit, but they don't look in too bad a shape, but they're just kind of staggering out of this wrecked wagon.
Oh, slow down there, friend. You don't want to be wandering around. You look like you're banged up.
I don't know what happened. I bought this thing brand new from the artificer, and it should just be working. I should have gone with an old cart. There's nothing wrong with animals pulling things.
That is a fact. Take a seat. Relax for a few minutes. You don't want to be wandering off like this.
I've had this thing for a week, and it's never done this yet.
Well, there may be an explanation that has yet to present itself.
And he kind of sits down on the ground there, and some of the watch officers from the Black Arch garrison start coming out here to this section of town. And I am going to say, give me another d20 roll to see if these garrison folk have a...
Ooh. I'm going to say probably not, because I rolled a 3.
So as these garrison officers walk up to you, they look at you and go, You work for those troublemakers at the newspaper, don't you?
I work for a newspaper. That is an accurate statement.
And this watch officer gets right up in your face and says, "You can tell those people that you work for, it's none of their business what we spend money on when we get money. We need equipment, and we'll decide what equipment we need to keep things pacified around here."
Well then, you might want to say that like 6 inches farther back next time, rather than right up in over my face.
Are you trying to threaten me, Dwarf? Do you think a human can't take you down just because you look nice and solid like a square?
I would never make any kind of assumption about a member of the watch.
Yeah, right. Troublemaker. And he looks over at the cart and says, "What's going on here?"
It flipped.
Why did it flip? Things just don't flip out of nowhere. And
Apparently today they do.
And the driver's like, "It did. I was just driving away. I delivered newspapers, and I threw my last bundle over there, and all of a sudden it went out of control." And the watch officers look at him and go, "I think somebody stayed up a little bit too late in the over in the tavern districts. I think we need to bring this guy in." And he nods over, and a couple of the watch officers grab this guy by either arms. Like, "I know it wasn't my fault. I didn't do it." And they start dragging him back off to the Black Arch Garrison.
Well, be careful apprehending that dangerous criminal. Have yourselves a nice day.
"I just deliver newspapers." So they drag him off, and you see him like disappear around the corner as they head back to the garrison. Now
he has a good litigator.
Now we are going to cut back over to Charples. What does Charples' morning look like?
Well, Charples crawls down the stairs basically he doesn't sleep well. He crawls downstairs into the diner that he lives above because he likes the noise. It kind of makes him feel safe. And his usual breakfast is there, like a bowl of potato and eggs. And he grabs a hot sauce and starts pouring it, shaking it over the bowl, and just doesn't stop, until people look at him. And then he looks back and he still shakes it until it's sort of this construction color orange. And that's when he knows it's ready to eat. And that's good for him. Next to that is the newspaper that's already been put there for him by the provisioner who runs the place. She knows that every morning he reads the paper. And it's already open to the fold where Lorella's article was, waiting for him to read it. And he just kind of begrudging respect as he reads through a pretty good article by someone he doesn't like very much. And after that, he heads out towards the paper.
Okay, so are we just going to establish none of us actually like the reporter who scooped us? He's like, that's what I've been thinking.
That's what I was thinking.
No, okay, right. But we
I'm not
haven't
jealous.
Said anything about it. No,
I'm not.
It's not
bitter.
like I did, most of the legwork, and then she took my article off my desk.
I know. I'm not bitter. I just have this choking bile rising up to the back of my throat about bleaching my teeth.
Yeah,
but it's fine. It's fine.
So as you're getting ready to go out the door, Provisioner looks over at you, and Provisioner owns this particular establishment. Provisioner was a logistics officer during the last war. She is a Warforged, and she never really came up with a better name than Provisioner, but it seemed to suit her well enough that she decided to run a restaurant. And currently, she's looking over at Charples and says, "Charples, I trust that everything was to your specifications.
You make the best eggs in town, Provisioner.
I take great joy in knowing that my customers are satisfied. Might
Take great joy.
Might I inquire as to something that I am having trouble with?"
What's going on? You usually don't bring your troubles to the table here. What's happening?
I do not, and I feel bad trying to bring this up at the moment. But if you would follow me back into my domicile behind the diner, I would like to show you something, if you are willing to do this.
Of course.
As compensation, your breakfast for the next week will be free.
Whoa.
Charples thinks to me, like, have I been paying for breakfast? He's not sure. Can't really remember.
And you notice she's like very, specific about picking up her ledger as soon as she says that and marking it down and setting it back down. And she opens the back door and walks in, and she goes, "This is an acquaintance of mine." And you see another Warforged back here, and you get the feeling he's in pretty solid shape, but he's also a little bit more wiry build. He was probably built to do some kind of scouting work during the last war. And he is on a couch, and oddly, more so than you would expect for a Warforged, he's actually kind of curled up on the couch, and if you didn't know better, you would say he doesn't look well. I have not run across many diseases that affect my people in the same manner as other people are affected, and yet he appears to have an ailment of some sort.
I didn't think you could get sick like that.
I did not believe this was the case either. I know that you are not a medical professional. However, I was wondering with your contacts if it would be possible for you to ask around and to find out if either there are any professionals that deal in this sort of situation, or if you have heard of other Warforged that are contracting this particular malady.
Yeah, I can do that. Let me get to the office and I'll check around the desk and I'll see if I can get something to you about someone to reach out and see what's going on here. Can I look him over?
Yes.
Do I see anything physically signs of abrasions, decay, rust? Maybe, I don't know.
You notice, like, because Warforged are kind of like a mix of metal and ceramic and wood and leather all kind of bolted together. You notice, like, the you don't know about him particularly because you've never met him before, but the wood is kind of a grayish tone and looks like kind of brittle. The few patches of leather that you can see kind of look dried out. And beyond that, do you have any particular special abilities that you scrutinize anything?
Do. I'm going to use my magic eye ability, which costs me 1 point.
All right.
And that briefly gains the ability to see beyond physical reality for the next hour. You're able to see the following. Magic, any faint aura or surrounds any person or object affected by the magic, and any illusion.
All right. So what you're seeing with him is you've seen Warforged through this ability before, and you can see like the basically the residual forge energies that keeps them animated and alive. But what you're seeing is there is some other magical residue that is kind of around the edges and fraying those enchantments that keep the Warforged life force moving. And it definitely looks like, it's almost, looking at this magically, it's almost like someone splattered this or impacted this with some kind of area, because it's not like equally around him. It's sort of like on one side where it's frayed more than the other.
Interesting. Okay, I got the information. I'll scribble it down in my book, my reporter's journal,
Okay.
to make a note of it, and then I'll turn to Provision and say, this isn't normal. I'll ask around. I'll see if anyone else has reported this, and then I'll send you some information about someone maybe who can help him, or I'll ask, but I'll do my best for sure.
I am greatly appreciative of this favor. And then she lets you go about your...
Hey, before I leave, I have a quick question. Have you just been adding my meals onto my rent? Because I don't remember actually... Is that what's happening? Because I don't even know what my rent is.
It seemed more efficient because I had heard the term room and board. Therefore, I was charging you for room and board.
So that's a good idea, because I'd probably forget. All right, well, thank you. I'll be in touch soon.
And now we're going to cut back to Mac. And Mac, as you round the corner, you see... There is a looks like a halfling carrying what kind of looks like a music box with a crank on it, and the music is stopped because this halfling seems to get the idea that maybe they're being followed, but they're getting ready to dart into an alley. What would you like to do?
Well, so Mac was pretty casual, just sort of like, well, what is going around here? And like poking his head around the corner and taking a bite of his sandwich. Very casual. But if you see somebody bolt, the delightful shifter instincts of Predator are going to kick in, and that sandwich is going to get dropped, and he's going to sprint down the alley after that potential prey that is fleeing.
And much like in Birds of Prey, we see the camera sadly pan to the dropped breakfast sandwich. Do you have any particular abilities that you're using to pursue this halfling as he gets ready to dart into the alleyway?
Oh no, I don't have any physical abilities. Almost all of my starting abilities are surrounding my gear.
Okay. So the halfling, doesn't see you yet. He's just getting that whole like prickling on the back of his neck that somebody's paying attention to him. And he darts down the alleyway. And since you are following him with your predator's instincts, what would you like to give me a d20?
Absolutely. Woo! 16.
All right. So you successfully, like, he darts in between some alleys and then double backs, but, your natural shifter abilities, you can guess where he's going, you cut back around, and he's, like, looking behind him as he walks into this alleyway and stumbles right into you as he is doing this.
Sure. And I just, sort of smile big at him as I drop my hand on his shoulder. Hey there, buddy.
I don't want any trouble, mister. I'm just a random musician that's trying to make a buck.
Sure. What sort of instrument is that? I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it.
Just music box.
Oh, okay, yeah. You play here often? I haven't seen you before.
No, I'm new. I have family in this district, but just started working here. I came down from middle districts because I love making the disadvantaged happier. That's why I'm playing music here. It's not about the money for me.
Oh wow! This is my neighborhood. Are you calling me poor and disadvantaged?
No. I don't
think I like your tone.
No, by no means would I.
I'm gonna push him slightly back into the alley just for a little bit more privacy under those pretenses.
And
the character is not a nice person.
And he is very much like cringing now as like, Mister, please don't hurt me. I'll give you and you like, he's struggling to think of what he can negotiate with.
Here's the thing. I don't really want you because, frankly, if I'm being honest, you seem like kind of an idiot. I don't think you're the person who I'm going to actually be after. So here's the great thing. You're going to get off scot-free. All I need to know is what you did and who put you up to it to make the streetlights go haywire.
Look, I've got some debts I have to pay, and they handed me this thing, and they said it has something to do with. And he looks around and he goes, "It's a protection racket. They're going to try and get people to pay for this not to be, for things to not go haywire around."
Okay. They is a bit vague. It's non-specific. That doesn't really help me. And I'm sure like Mac not necessarily his hackles up, but like he's feeling the shifter essence, because like this is a primal thing, you know, cornering your prey and making it squirm. So I'm sure his eyes are starting to glow, or you know, whatever the shifter change
eyebrows
is.
are getting a little sharper.
Yep.
Man, I don't want to say it out loud. You know, the family, the family asked me to do this.
Oh, okay. And out of character, the family. I mean, I'm an investigative reporter investigating corruption. Do I know who the family is?
Contextually, if a halfling is referring to a crime organization as the family, it is probably the Boromar clan.
Okay.
Which is the halfling organized crime in the city.
Gotcha. And that's like Boromir, but spelled with an A?
Boromar.
Okay. Okay, so they gave you this music box. I'm gonna need the music box, by the way. And like I'm gonna start like lifting it off of him. The Boromars gave you this music box and told you to come down play in my neighborhood. Well, here's the thing. If you just disappear, lie low for a week, probably nothing bad will happen to you. But let me tell you something. The Boromars, after today, they're going to know you can't be trusted. So you probably should go out of your way to avoid them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Glad we had this little talk.
Yeah. And you're seeing basically the halfling equivalent of the guy from the Fifth Element when when he collects the gun from him.
Yep.
Go ahead, take the music box.
Like I said, you're not very bright. Find a butcher, apprentice under him, marry his daughter. You can live a happy life, grow to be fat, have many small children. Get out of the crime life, man. You don't have the chops.
If I run, you're not gonna like pounce on me, are you?
I think I can restrain myself.
Okay. And he like takes about 3 steps back, and after he gets like 3 steps back, he darts as fast as he can.
As he's running away, I just sort of heft and look at the music box. Well, this is different.
So, just a question. Is everybody going to head to the newspaper then at this point?
Yes.
Yes, but I am not headed to the newsroom.
Okay.
I am headed to whatever our stacks are, like the research people. Like, hey, you're the nerds who don't do the reporting. You're the people who like know things, and then we write about it. So I want to head to the stacks and find somebody who can hopefully has some like heebie-jeebie mumbo jumbo to tell me what's going on with this music box. Unless that's Charples. That could be Charples. Now that I think about it, since he is a magic user.
Yeah, that's probably
maybe
better, just so that we, pull the whole group in there.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
Yeah, I would say you probably see Charples and Kithra starting to walk towards the editor-in-chief's office, and then you get in there before they make it over there. So what would you like to do?
Well, actually, that's not the way I'm going to play it.
Okay.
I would much rather Charples and Kithra go and have their talk with the editor-in-chief. And I will enter the scene once they leave.
Okay. So, the two of you meet up with the editor-in-chief, like usual, to see what, if there's any assignments for you. And your editor-in-chief is an orc named Toskwall, And Tosk grew up in the lower wards, and there's a section of the lower wards that is known as Malian's Gate. And Malian's Gate is where a lot of it's mainly like hobgoblins and goblins, but also some orcs live in the same general area. And you've been working for Tosk long enough that Tosk is named Tosk Wall because his family's house was at the very edge of the district. Your editor-in-chief is extremely passionate about the lower ward. Like, he genuinely cares, but he is also an extremely blunt person. So as the two of you walk in, he looks at you and says, "You're both late."
Weird stuff this morning, Chief.
Yep.
Yeah,
but if you get here earlier, I can have you look at the weird stuff and write about it. Or, in your case, Kithra, punch it. Did you punch anyone this morning? Because I didn't pay you for it.
Oh, I wanted to, but it was, City Watch, so I decided not to.
Yeah, it's usually best to, punch them in the back of the head as they're walking away when they don't have other people around them. Not that I have ever done such a thing.
Of course not. Fine, upstanding citizen as yourself.
So he gets out his pipe and fills it up and lights it and takes a couple puffs off of it. All right. So there's some things that have been going around the city. I need you to look into it. We don't have nearly as many of these in this district, so it makes it more noteworthy. But there's a few people that have sky sleds in this area, and they seem to be dumping people randomly. I don't know if this is some kind of House Lorander, like poorly made constructions that they're trying to pawn off on people in this neighborhood to make a quick gold piece. I don't know what it is, but I need to start looking into some of these malfunctioning things.
Really? You're going to give us a used car story?
Hey, people could get hurt with these things.
People
don't have a lot of money when they scrape it together to get one of these fancy vehicles that House Lorander tells them they need to have, and then all of a sudden it goes haywire. I think that's something to follow up on.
All right.
Wait, so this conveyance just decided to go haywire?
Yeah.
Because this morning on my way in, a newspaper cart decided that it was going to flip over.
Just decided that?
Yes, a magical newspaper cart that the guy had for a week, and it was performing admirably. And then suddenly it just picked up speed and flipped. It almost landed on me.
I don't guess you actually got his name.
Well, I didn't. But the watch took him away because they thought that he was drunk.
Yeah, I know. I don't pay you to actually write the stories. Hey, give the details to Charples. Charples, if you get a chance, I need you to talk to that person there while you're following up on other things.
Yeah, I got it.
And where the hell is Mac at?
I got something.
I haven't
Chief.
seen
Something unusual happened. I saw something today I've never seen before.
What's that?
I saw a sick Warforged. Like sick.
Sick.
Not like
I
cursed
know. No.
or damaged.
It's not
It was-
like new slang that the kids are using now. Like
No, I don't know how to
sick,
describe it. It's like he had a magical rash or something. I mean, that was preventing his life force from doing what it does.
I don't want one of those.
You don't want one of those. I don't know what could happen. I think I want to dig into this a little bit, Chief.
Well, I want the vehicles to be the primary story. But if you find any
definitely.
tie-in or you find any leads, go ahead and follow it. I trust your gut a little.
All right, Chief.
All right, I'm not paying you to stand in my office any longer.
Are you sure? All
Why
right.
not,
Well,
Chief?
technically, I'm paying you to keep him from getting beat up. So if I
Yeah.
were about to beat him up, then I am paying you.
You never
All
know
right,
when
Chief.
somebody's
We'll
going
get
to pounce
to
out of a
work.
dark corner.
No, it's all right. Wait for it. Wait for it to actually happen. Don't get too excited. It's gonna happen. I promise. Hey, but if they're not paying us to stand around here, Chief, what are they paying you for? Standing around here, and then I'll just walk out of the office.
Fine
So
question.
yes, the Kithra and Charples make their way out of the editor-in-chief's office. So what would Mac like to be doing now?
So I think when Max sees Charples head back to his desk, he sort of saunters up. Hey, Charples, let me guess. The big guy's got you looking at weird things, maybe some enchanted stuff that's going haywire.
Yeah, this it's weird. Like this stuff is pretty well understood. Magic technology. It's not like this is pretty common stuff. Very reliable. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
Maybe we don't
it
know.
seems like a mystery. And at this point, he's just going to drop the music box on Charples' desk.
I look at that. Is it? I have an hour. My magic eyes. My magic eyes still good here.
Oh yeah, it is definitely a magical construct of some sort.
Okay.
Taking up a new instrument there, Mac?
As
Well,
in, I
pick it
took
up.
it off a low-level enforcer for the Boromar clan. Yeah.
So do you crank the handle?
I do.
All right.
You didn't tell me not to.
All right. If you would, please roll me a d20 and let's see what happens.
That is not how Mac rolls.
Well, I roll 14.
All right. So
That's how I roll.
you start turning this, and I'm going to say because you have your magical sight up, you can see like these waves start emanating off of this thing and start like kind of playing around the edges of like Mac's devices that he has. And Mac, you feel them get a little bit warm, but
Mhm.
since you were successful, you could stop cranking and not have anything go haywire. But you can also tell that the sounds coming out of this music box are what's making everything go haywire in the vicinity.
Yeah, I'll snap it closed and make this alarm face like where wow. Why?
It's
All
a new
right, then.
protection racket, from what I gathered. Man, the Boromar clan, they need to start finding some better help. I could not tell you how quickly this guy folded.
The Boromar
Anyway,
clan
I'm
had this
sure he's
device?
also running back to them. They're going to kill him. I tried warning him, but
Well,
you know how it is. I'm going to go talk to the chief because I have my angle, but I kind of wanted to get this at your desk too because I feel like both our talents are going to be needed here. I'm not so good with the magic stuff that's your thing.
this thing is dangerous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it made a street lamp go just absolutely haywire. It was spouting flame and almost burned the ward down.
That's a very negative trait to have in a street lamp.
Right? That's what I thought.
I'm betting that made the newspaper cart flip too.
There's a newspaper cart that flipped.
Yeah, almost hit me.
Huh.
Could be.
Was it your lightning reflexes that
Damn
saved
Skippy.
you, or did you just punch it into oblivion?
I'm nimble.
Okay. Anyway, you look into this thing. I got to go talk to the chief and find out if he wants me to follow up on the organized crime aspect.
Yeah, I'll do that. If there's any markings or relief on top or the sides, I'll do like a pencil rubbing of it, just so I have a copy of it.
Yeah, like everything. There's nothing that looks like writing. There's some things that like there's a little bit of like a flourishing border on the edges of the box just to make it look more like it's actually a music box that you might stand there and crank and play music from, but there's no actual writing on it anywhere.
Okay.
Unfortunately, my puppy is barking, so I think I have to take him outside.
No problem.
I need a 5-minute break.
Not
Sorry.
a problem. So as Mac heads back into the editor's office, what are the two of you doing?
I want to check with the front desk, like the news desk that does like local stuff, and find whoever's doing that and see if there's any other reports of Warforged irrationality or illness or, because I promised I'd look into this, and I'm going to honor that promise.
So as you walk over there, the person that is working at that desk is another gnome, and you don't think that they're necessarily involved in a lot of the the typical gnomish things, but you also know this gnome always kind of treats you coldly as well too. Like, they just don't quite appreciate the book that you wrote.
When I wrote my book, Blood on the Wand, I betrayed a lot of confidences, and I understand that the gnomes treat me a little harshly. I get it.
So she kind of glowers at you. What do you want?
Look, have there been any unusual reports on Warforged activity, health, getting sick, maybe something like that? Anything coming in?
And she starts like piecing through like some notes that she's got there. Not really seeing anything like that. And as she is saying this, I'm going to say Kithra sees this first, but as your back is turned and you're starting to look through these notes that she put out there for you, you see Lorella, the changeling star reporter for the Daily Bridge, just kind of gracefully glide up next to Charples. Is Kithra doing anything as she is heading by?
Oh, absolutely. I'm not going to let her sneak up on my charge here. So she gets about halfway. It's Lorella.
So yeah, I imagine you've been working with Kithra long enough that you're kind of used to his signals. So you
I jump a little. Whoa.
and as you turn around, you see Lorella starting to walk up on you.
Lorilla, I read your piece this morning. It was good work.
I know. Did I hear that you have some sort of angle on a Warforged story? I didn't hear all the details, but it sounds really juicy. Care to
I
share?
didn't hear that. Did you hear that?
It's not a story yet. It's a personal matter, but you know how these things sometimes turn into stories.
You know, if you shared some of the details with me, we could share a byline.
Tell you what,
He's never going to do it.
here's what I need, and if you can get this for me, I'll consider it. Like, I don't mind that you're good, and you remind me a lot of myself 10 years ago when I was at that level. But if you could just find me, I need to talk to an artificer, and I don't need to talk to someone who works the clean side of the street, if you know what I mean.
Oh, I see. And you noticed, like, just briefly when you said you remind me of me when I was younger, like, briefly over her features, they just kind of ripple, and her face looks like yours for a second.
Mission accomplished. That was an improvement.
I'll have to look and see if I have any shady artificers that I can pass along to you.
No joking for 1 second. Someone's not well. This is a real life at stake here, and maybe a Warforged isn't real life to you, but it is to me. So this is serious to me.
And you can tell, like, well, actually, you probably can't with Lorella because she is so used to, having different forms. Like, around the newspaper, she usually stays in her changeling form, where she is kind of the pale grayish with, like, kind of not quite prominent features that are kind of, not quite fully formed. The almost Odo-ish looking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sort of the default, the
Yeah.
lowest level of effort appearance.
But you notice, like, she looks almost. She takes on a little bit more of a human-looking face, and she looks a little bit hurt. And you don't know if it's an affectation or if this is just her actually reacting. She goes, I would never be one of those people that tries to say Warforged aren't people. And
Good.
I will definitely keep that in mind. And I'll ask around if any of the artificers that might do back alley work are available to talk. I'll get back to you on that.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
And at this point, then, we cut back to Mac entering the editor-in-chief's office, and you see him already puffing on his pipe, and he's kind of looking down, and he doesn't even look up at you. He's like, Mac, you're late.
Yeah, was tracking down a story.
Well, I kind of need you to work with Charples on this this thing that I assigned him.
Kind of thought you did, and I think they're related.
Really? What do you
Yeah.
got going on?
So I have a protection racket down here in the lower wards, where they are attempting to destabilize our magical infrastructure so that people will pay them to make it stop. Things, street lamps bursting into flame, magical carts running haywire and amok, general mayhem and destruction abounding.
Well,
But if that's not interesting, sure, I can look at something else.
no, I think that might be exactly what we need to be looking into here. All right. I really want to go with the potentially faulty equipment angle, but wherever the story takes you. make sure you're
It's a
following it.
much better story if we've got. I'm really hoping that we can get some of the city council on this.
If Boromir's
That would
involved,
would make my day.
if Boromir's involved, make sure you got Kithra with you all the time. I don't want you getting shanked in an alleyway.
They're like this tall, and he, while sitting down, he's definitely holding his hand even lower. He's like, "Come on, Chief! Really?"
I've been stabbed by a halfling before. It's really unpleasant, the angles that they can hit.
All right, I'll bring Kithra along. Maybe she can, I don't know, punch a tavern keep or something.
Also, if it's a protection racket, somebody knows something.
Yeah,
You can't have a protection racket without telling people what the threat is. So someone's heard something about this.
absolutely. My only concern there is I may have gotten too much of a jump on that, because so the protection racket, it works a couple of ways, but this sort of thing, the fact that we're just hearing about this, and I heard that it was protection racket the first bit, makes me kind of think that they're just getting started. But I might be wrong. Maybe they were, you can run a protection racket to either stop the bad things from happening that are already happening, or you can run a protection racket on the threat of bad things happening. Sort of depends on how vicious you are and how invested you are in the area. So I don't know.
Am I to assume that when you found out about the protection racket from someone connected with House Boromir, you made it clear that you found out about the protection racket?
Oh yeah.
Kid, you led with your chin.
Well,
Don't lead with your chin.
I also made it clear that the Boromars know that he's no longer going to be a trustworthy asset, and he should probably just get out of town.
Let's hope he doesn't decide to try and double back and warn them ahead of time if you're looking into it. All right.
I mean, the problem is I caught him first day out, so he's kind of an idiot.
Don't surprise me. Anyway, catch up with everybody else. I want you on the story, but if you can, follow up with the vehicle thing first. That seems to be what a lot of the buzz is about. But if it takes you somewhere else, follow it.
Sounds good.
All right. Get out of my office.
Absolutely. And it didn't occur to me until I started playing Mac that I think Mac is, like, his mannerisms are very much, who's seen 10 Things I Hate About You?
I may have a while ago, but it's
Okay.
not.
Heath Ledger in an early role. He just absolutely great as, like, the bad boy of the school. Just very lackadaisical, and, like, anytime he smiles, it's like a larger than life, just huge shit-eating grin. That's Mac. Like, I've got a chip on my shoulder, and I dare you to call me on it.
All right. So do you meet up with these two? If you head back over to them, you see your colleague, Lorella, is starting to walk away, and she kind of looks at you as she's walking away, and you notice, like, she grows these very hairy eyebrows as she walks by you, and she just gives you this very sweet "Hi, Mac" as she walks by you.
I feel like somebody just walked over my grave.
You guys tell me if she ever tries to imitate me.
Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
That's right. What are they're not shifters. What are the
Changelings. Yeah,
Changelings.
Lorella is a changeling.
Okay.
Buy her a sandwich. Knuckle sandwich.
Mac, I think we got to let Kithra carry the gizmo.
Yeah, why is
do I
that?
got to carry it?
'Cause I think he has the best chance of keeping it out of someone's hands. That's what I think.
All right. So,
No-
I mean,
no-
well,
no
do
one
you
will
know
think he's-
what it does or how it works?
I got a rough
It's not going to
idea.
make me sick, is it?
It might stunt your growth.
Hey, I thought we weren't going to do the short jokes.
I mean, besides, Kithra,
I look up to the dwarf and I'm like, really?
she's well beyond. She's well beyond the growing age, right? Right? Sort of looks down at
Kithra, I think it's best being honest. There's two reasons. One, no one will ever expect you to have it. And two, I think you'll know if we need to use it, when that might be. Just in case.
All right.
I think it would make sense if you carried
Plus,
this as well.
so, I
That's
mean,
fair.
so this is the thing that's making magic go haywire, right?
It certainly can do that. Whether or not it can operate at the scale to bring down lots of cars, or I don't know. Whether there's a bigger one out there, I don't know. Whether they've planted these gizmos all over the place and there's
I was
hundreds
gonna say
of them
the
out
other
there, I don't know.
I mean, it's a street organ, right? Like the monkey grinder.
Yeah, it's like a hurdy-gurdy type thing.
Hurdy-gurdy.
Hurdy-gurdy,
Yeah, I mean, the other option is they have a bunch of low-level enforcers who just walk around playing the music.
Yeah, it's possible. What we should do is try to find one of those enforcers.
Yeah, I let mine go. Sorry about that.
Well, we can always try to find him again.
And if there's more than one, we'll figure that out.
Yeah, I think more than one might be our best option.
So the chief said something I think that made a lot of sense, right? If this is an extortion racket, someone's got to be getting extorted. Let's talk
Are
to
you
that person.
listening to my assignment?
I hear really, really well.
Keeping my
Chief's
eye
kinda
on
loud.
you, Charples.
And he's an orc, and he yells through the
this is
glowing
true. Yeah, he is not.
everything.
He is not a subtle
No.
person.
He is not a subtle person.
All right. No, that's true. So yeah, so where were you when you almost got hit by a flipping cart?
That would be not far, actually.
That was you are at Center Bridge, and it's literally just the Forge Light Towers, which is just like one neighborhood over.
Okay, so then, and I'm gonna say I was, a little bit away from there.
Yeah, you were in Granite Hills, which is just downslope from that, basically.
Okay, so here's the thing. So we've got two locations. I'm willing to bet that if there was something going on, your location, because Charples, you don't think it's likely that one music box hit multiple neighborhoods, right? Like it's not that powerful.
I don't think so.
What if he spun it really fast?
I don't want to try that unless we're in the middle of an empty field.
Yeah. But if we're in the middle of an empty field,
actually,
there's no magic around for us to disrupt.
My gut tells me if there's more than one of these out there. That's what my gut says. But again,
that sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys could always ask some of the people in the neighborhood if they saw anybody with one.
Well, we got reports that this happened to quite a few people. So, like I said, if it's an extortion racket, we can find out who's paying, find out who's handing these things out. If it's Borum, our clan, we can hit the usual hideouts and drinking places and see if we can find anyone carrying a box.
Yeah, I think our best bet is to start with some of the wealthier businesses in the area. Maybe find some people who really rely on the magical infrastructure. If that's what this is disrupting, let's look for the people who are going to be disrupted the most.
So the chief gave me the assignment to track down these sky people. Is there any contact information with any of these? The sky the sky sled dumping people randomly. If we can look at that list and try to find a wealthy person on that list and kind of collate that between Mac's idea and that list, that might be where we would start.
All right. So one of the wealthiest areas in the lower wards is all the way on the other side of town, and it is the Long Stairs, which, as you might imagine, is kind of at the border of getting up into the Middle District area. And that would be where the more not wealthy, but wealthy for the lower wards people would be at.
Yeah, and that's what we want, because if you have somebody who's just straight up wealthy, they're going to have the resources to fight back. You need somebody who's rich for poor people.
Fair. I have an idea. If these sky sleds are falling out of the sky, dumping people randomly, where are they taking them? Are they getting repaired somewhere? Is there a sky sled garage we could look up?
I mean, I would imagine that whoever built them and sends them out, like maybe, it's like a service or something.
The North Market, which is slightly closer than the Long Stairs, is where most of the magical equipment would be repaired and manufactured in that area.
Why don't we stop there first since it's on the way and see if anything shakes loose? If not, then we'll head up the
stairs.
stairs.
Sounds like a starting point.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go.
So as you wend your way around here, it takes probably about a half hour to get from this side of town to the other side of town. And as you're getting closer to the North Market area, you're passing by Terminus, which is where the lightning rail gets loaded in and is basically loaded up with material there, and then it heads out. And you see, like, as the lightning rail starts to pull out, there is this strange thing that happens where the whole lightning rail doesn't like come off the rails or anything like that, which technically it is not on rails. It's hovering above these plates that repulse the thing. But all of a sudden, like, the back few cars start dragging and start to damage and pull loose some of the stones that are there to repulse the back end of the train. And it's not like a major accident, but there are people like all upset because this is tearing up part of the lightning rail. This is going to take time to replace. That is expensive shit there. Nobody should be, this is going to disrupt trade. And, everyone is just wondering why the hell those last few cars are starting to drag.
Oh,
Hmm.
did you guys see that?
Hold
Uh-huh.
on. And Mac wants to try and listen for a music box in the area.
All right. If you would then, please give me a D20 roll.
Yeah, where did I put that? There it is. Woo! It's a net 20.
All right. So,
Look, it's on.
not only were you successful,
No, it's
it is an extraordinary success. So, as you are...
digital background messes with the camera.
So, as you are listening for the sound, you not only hear the exact sound that you were listening for, it is the sound of that music box playing, but you look in the exact direction of someone that is cranking this music box. And you notice this time, it is not a halfling. It appears to be a human street urchin that's just kind of sitting there. They have a basket at their feet, looking like they're a street musician, but they are cranking this thing down. And it will be very easy to cut this person off. But are you going to communicate this to Kethra and Charples?
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm just going to tap Kithra on the shoulder and point.
Ooh.
You're up.
All right. Yeah, baby.
So how is Kithra approaching this?
First thing I'm going to do is I have an ability called Size Up.
Ah,
And I'm going to look over this street urchin and get an idea if it really is a street urchin or if it's just someone looking like that.
okay. So what exactly does the ability do for you?
It says that I can evaluate the capabilities of a nearby creature or group of creatures, and the guide will give me useful insight into their capabilities, strength, vulnerabilities, and or resistances. At a minimum, I will receive an accurate assessment from the guide about whether they would pose a fair fight.
All right. So they do not look like they're going to be an extraordinary combatant. They do look more confident than a child would. There is something not quite right about the way they carry themselves. I mean, if you had to assess it, they were probably a standard street level thug, but they are not a child, at least as far as their capabilities go.
Fair enough. I will begin to move in that direction, but try not to look like I'm going right for him.
All right. Do you have any ambush-based abilities?
Probably not really, no.
Okay, then if you would like to give me a D20 roll, we'll see how this turns out.
Absolutely. Woo-hoo! 19.
Wow. So yeah, you manage to you wait until there's a crowd of people and you kind of use them for cover, and then you circle around right behind this person. What would you like to do now that you are right here within arm's reach of them?
So who told you to crank the box?
Blah!
I'm sorry, did I startle you?
And this time, unlike in Mac's case, this person picks up the box and whips it off and throws it at you.
Oh, really?
Yes. So we are going to see what happens with that. So, they rolled a tough choice. So, in this case, this thing wasn't going to harm you a whole lot anyway. So I don't want to go with the minimized damage. So they're going to either hit you and get tangled up and not be able to get away from you, or they're going to throw this and get more than an arm's reach away from you.
I don't think so. Because I have a counterattack ability. When an enemy within reach rolls a tough choice or worse on a basic attack against me, I parry their attack and take no damage.
Nice.
If they roll a failure or worse, I may also immediately roll the die to make a basic attack on them. This does not count as a turn.
All right. So yeah, they rolled the tough choice. So like they threw this at you, and you just bat the thing to the side, and they're like at their feet in front of you now.
All right.
So they did not manage to get away from you with their tough choice now.
Well, that was ill-advised.
I don't want any trouble.
No, it's too late for that.
I just got paid to come down here and play my music. They even
Exactly.
gave me the instrument.
And who paid you?
There was this guy, it was a halfling, and you're noticing, like, as they're talking, their features are kind of shifting, and they're looking a little bit more gray.
Oh, look at you.
Okay, so there's a halfling. He said if I played this here, I would make a few extra coins. And I met them over at the where is it? Unfortunately, the map that I grabbed here is not as high resolution as I would like. Oh yeah, that's where it was. I met him in the Dragon Eyes district, and last night, and I needed a few extra coins, so I picked it up and I did this. That's all I'm doing here.
Did they happen to tell you what would happen when you played the music?
No,
Did you see what just happened over there?
I couldn't have made a lightning rail drag ass. That's not. It's a music box.
Uh-huh. That's exactly what just happened.
And as this is going on, what are the other two of you doing? As you're seeing Kithra yelling at this poor innocent child that just threw a music box at him.
I would get over there as quickly as my little legs would allow, but I would secure the box that was thrown. I would
Okay.
try to get to make sure it doesn't get out of control.
Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna say that's fairly easy. That's not gonna take any extra effort. You can just walk over and kind of pick that one up. And what about Mac?
So do we have any of the resource that lets me do things with my magic items? Because I have something that costs 3.
Yes. You should start off with how many did you start off with?
10.
10.
Yeah.
Yep.
10 hit
Okay.
points and 10 action points.
Yep.
Okay.
So yes, you start off with 10 of those.
All right. The glasses can be upgraded. So I have spy glasses.
Ah.
And they can be upgraded. I'd like to spend 3 action points to add the ability to magnify the details of small objects nearby or zoom to see faraway things clearly. And this
Okay.
would be the zoom to see faraway things clearly.
Okay. And what exactly are you looking for?
I want to see if there is anything on or around the lightning rail that also seems suspicious. Because, like, how close are we to the lightning rail right now? Or how close is the musician to the lightning rail?
You're probably I'm trying to think. In feet wise, you're probably about maybe 30 feet away from it. You're kind of on the platform,
Okay.
close to it. Yeah.
Gotcha. All right. Okay. So it's actually not as far as I was thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I still want to, like, investigate the area, look for other things that are suspicious. Maybe they have multiple people working in concert. It seems like Kithra has the busker in hand, and if she needs help, Charples is there, and Charples is a stand-up guy, right? I think so. I think Charples is a stand-up guy. I'm gonna
Most
trust that Charples
Most days.
is a stand-up guy.
Do I see him pull his goggles out, or is his spyglass start looking around?
I'd say you're probably busy going around
Okay.
and picking up that music box for right now. But
Okay.
what Mac does see when you zoom in on this, you notice like the lightning rail stopped as soon as they realized they were doing damage to the stones, and one of the people, and you can tell just by the the kind of unnecessary clothes that they're wearing over their form, but like one of the porters on the train is a Warforged, and he is kind of leaning on the train with his head down. And if it weren't a Warforged, you would imagine he was probably trying to like catch his breath or something.
Okay. I am going to walk over to him. Sort of saunter on over. So I imagine like the crowd is all sort of like just milling.
Mm-hmm.
Like no one's going anywhere, but people are still moving.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have to like sort of weave and wend a sinuous path over to this Warforged.
And you notice he's like walking around, and like as you're getting closer to him, he's like trying to stretch out, like something doesn't feel right to him, and he kind of like shakes his head, and he turns around and looks at you and goes, what can I do for you, citizen?
It seems to me that you look a little out of sorts, friend. I don't think I've ever seen a Warforged who felt sore or stiff.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing. I've never felt this way either. All of a sudden, it just felt like something was kind of gnawing at my joints. It's really strange.
And this, when did this happen?
Just a few minutes ago, as we were starting to pull out of station, I was securing some of the cargo in the last few cars, and all of a sudden, I just
So about when the
kind of
car
buckled.
started dragging on the.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna like pull out my little press badge. I'm with the Daily Bridge, and I'm working on a story right now about magical disruption, and I think it might be affecting you.
I mean, I haven't heard anything about that, but I mean, I guess anything's possible. I've definitely never felt like this before. Is this like a permanent condition or something?
I don't know. Today is the first time I stumbled across this today. I started looking into it. My editor gave me his blessing. But I think that what happened here to this train, and like I pointed at the train, which is like sitting on the stone. I'm like, what happened to the train happened to you. And I know it's not my place, but I think you should see an artificer. I think we should get you. I think you should get an exam and see if anything permanent has happened. Because
I haven't had to see an artificer since back in the war when I actually got literally damaged before. This is really strange, but I think I'll take your advice. And you notice as you're saying this, he still looks not well. But you notice,
I mean, as pale as a Warforged can look, right?
Yeah, it's that weird subtle thing where like the wood looks a little bit more gray and the leather is a little bit more dried out. But you do notice that the back two cars start to lift up off of the stones again. But
now that the music grinder has stopped. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But there's still like some spots where it's it's missing some stones now because it was dragging.
Sure, but I mean that's physical damage. That's not magical disruption.
Right.
Okay. Do you mind? It might be really useful for my story. Do you mind if I come with you?
Yeah, I just don't know who I would go see. Actually, I haven't needed a artificer for a while.
Sure. I might have an idea. I might know somebody. And like I'm gonna take the Warforged like chum hand over the shoulder and lead them back to Charples and be like, hey, Charples, Do you know a good do you know a good artificer?
You know, I don't know a good one, but what I think we need is a bad one.
I will point out.
Really not selling it here, Charples.
I will point out that you don't. When you were talking about before wanting somebody that was on the shady side, this didn't come up because they're not on the shady side. But Gilmer is one of the goblins that maintains the printing press, and Gilmer is an artificer.
Oh, okay. All right, that makes sense.
So you know a legitimate artificer.
Well, let's we can take him back to the office. We can have someone look at him there. That might just give us an idea of what we're dealing with.
Sure.
Are you feeling any better?
No, actually, I'm still feeling really, really off.
But the train's sort of doing its thing again.
Yeah,
You're not.
If anything, it's almost like it started off like up in my shoulders, and now it's kind of like spreading. I don't. And Kithra, what are you doing at the moment with your cornered person here?
Well, I'm making sure that they don't leave, first of all. And then as soon as we get an opportunity in their conversation, I'll be like, so what do you two want to do with this one?
Who paid him?
I was going to say, do we know who they were working for?
Some halfling.
Yeah, I met him in the I met him in the Dragon Eyes district, and I was kind of partying last night, and I was on my last gold piece, and they gave me this thing, and they gave me a bag of silvers and said, hey, if you just go to this place at this time and play this thing, then it's all yours free and clear. I never caught a name, and I didn't they already paid me for it. I just figured I'd do it because I didn't want somebody to be looking over my shoulder.
And where were you to take this box when you were finished with it?
They just told me, they didn't ask for it back. I figured if they wanted it back, they'd come looking for it. They just told me to play it this one time.
And you took a job without ever getting to know who your employer was, and and Mac immediately turns to the Warforged. I'm Mac Tiray, by the way. Just thought you should know.
All my friends call me Load.
Nice to meet you, Load. I hope we can get you fixed up and back in business.
And the changeling looks at you and says, hey, have you never really had a rough night in the Dragon Eyes? And the Dragon Eyes is one of the red light districts in this portion of Sharn.
Well, I can't say no.
It's
Charples
no
is
excuse
like-
for nefarious deeds.
I'm taking a step back, just going like,
There are two red light districts in this portion of the city. The Dragon Eyes is kind of for people that are from this part of the city. Then there is Sharn's Welcome, which is the red light district that caters to the dock side of this district. So I believe at this point, how about we take a 10-minute break and circle back around here, and I will pause things. And we are back. Currently, we were trying to figure out what the group wanted to do with this changeling that they had intercepted, that Kithra is currently kind of leaning on to keep from escaping. So, what are your plans next here?
I think we should head back to the office and get this Warforged checked out, and maybe that artificer can help us figure out what this box is and who made it.
I think Load is going to be the nice person element of the story. Really help us sell some papers, as it's the load can be the face of the human tragedy, or sorry, the sentient tragedy. I don't know anyway, the people being affected by this.
And Load is like, I was told to go with sapient. I don't.
There we go. I'm happy to go with what you've got.
So, all of you heading back to the newspaper then? So, it's again another half hour back across town to get back to the newspaper. And you arrive back at the newspaper. How would you like to approach this?
Directly, I think, straight in and head for the printing room or wherever this
Gilmer's down in the basement.
Wherever Gilmer is, yeah.
With the printing. And you see like Gilmer like looking over some, switches and dials, and Gilmer is a goblin that has wears glasses most of the time, and Gilmer's looking in, and they look up and go, "Ah, hey, it's the people whose words I print. What can I do for you?"
You got something for you to look at. Well, two things actually.
Someone.
Yeah,
Please.
someone, and something, and they're related.
Okay. I can do
Well,
that.
in the broader scope of we believe this story encompasses both of them, not related as in they are blood.
So I'll pull that box out and I'll throw it down on the table with a bit of a unnecessary force, and I'm like, this breaks them.
I believe you mean up onto the table.
I
That's
hand it.
That's how you do it with a flourish. You kind of flip it up into the air.
It's
I hand it
Gilmer's
to
table,
Kithra.
so it might be.
That's true.
might be
That's
pretty
true.
low.
Gilmer is a goblin. That's true. All right.
Oh, finally a room built for regular sized people. Huh,
So
thank goodness.
I can finally dramatically.
so you set this down.
Beautiful. So beautiful.
Gilmer opens the lid of the thing and then slams the lid shut and looks over at his printing or over at their printing press, and then looks back at you and goes, "Do you know what this could do to that?"
Yes, don't turn the handle.
Maybe should have left that.
I
Or
think
led with that. Sorry.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Useful information that could have been brought to his attention immediately. I don't disagree. But now that that's out there, let's forget the fact that I'm a little late to that party and just enjoy the fact that we're all here.
So Gilmer
I'm
sticks
taking great pleasure in the fact that a newspaper person buried the lead.
Hello.
Talk to my editor.
So Gilmer sticks their head back in the box and they start poking. Where'd you get this from?
I think the Bromar
Wait,
Klansman.
is this the first one or the second one?
Second one.
Second one. Okay.
I still have the first one.
Yep. So yeah, we got this one off a street musician.
Wait, this one? That makes it sound like there's more than one. And
Yeah.
Gilmer looks over at Kithra and goes, "Keep that thing away from my printing press!"
Look, I'm not.
It's
If we,
okay as long as you don't crank the handle.
it's fine, and you're going to find out all
this.
about it in the next edition anyway. It's totally fine. We're going to write about it. It's going to be great. We think there might be the Bromer clan might be handing these things out to Jack with something. We don't know why. But
Warforged clan get their hands on this sort of thing. And
they're paid
Gilmer-
muscle,
Gilmer pokes around in this thing and closes this up and goes, "I heard a story about these things. At least something similar to the inner workings of this."
Sorry, a story?
Yeah. And you're getting the feeling that Gilmer is going to share something, but it seems like Gilmer is calculating what they're about to share.
It's all right, Gilmer. You're among friends. You can
Well,
trust us.
From what I heard, and this is just artificers talk. Things that get passed around between artificers. But this kind of sounds like a shelved project that 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 House Caneth was working on during the last war that they scrapped. It was supposed to be like a revolutionary line that they were going to roll out to whoever was going to pay most for it during the last war, but for some reason they just quit working on it.
Well, if I had a device that would disable the Warforged, and I was in a war, I might find that a pretty interesting thing to develop. What would cause me to stop developing it?
The Warforged on your side.
I was gonna say the fact that it is completely
Load just kind of nods.
That's one reason. I mean, kind of depends on your ratio, I guess, of what your army looks like. But I obviously didn't stop, did they? Someone didn't. Hey, speaking of load, can you?
Heyo.
Help?
Sorry. Force of habit.
Steady. Help? Can you look at load here? He's having a little discomfort. It's not the first Warforged I've seen today in distress.
And they get out some tools and they start like setting different, things with wires and running them back off. And they get a jug of something and they crank up the jug and they hit a button and everything just starts vibrating. And they're looking at gauges. Huh. Well, all right. I might be able to get a better look if I can partially disassemble them. And Load is like, no, I don't think it will hurt you, but I need to take off some of your plating. And Load goes, you do realize my plating is my skin.
Would you like us to leave the room? Would it be more comfortable if we weren't here?
And Load looks at you for a second and goes, regardless of the number of people in the room, would it ever be comfortable to have someone peel some of your skin off of you?
I'm kind of with Load on this one.
It sounds creepy as hell.
I can assure you, that sounds most unpleasant.
Gilmer's like, I mean, I'm reasonably sure I could fix them up afterwards. It's just, there's definitely something there. It's just I have to kind of see under the plating.
Reasonably?
Well, yeah. I mean, there is always variability in life.
I think you should let him help you, Load. That's what I think. But it's ultimately your decision.
That's where I'm going. It's your decision,
Yeah.
Load. Like,
Do they look like they're kind of stable, or does it look like it's progressive?
If I had to guess, I'd say that the aura is kind of frayed. So it's possible if they don't interact with a lot of other magic, maybe it won't fray anymore. It's kind of like if you ever have a sweater and there's that little string that's bothering you and you start pulling on it. Well, in this case, magic would reach out and grab the string and then, just kind of like tug on it. So if you walk too fast, then the magic would just unwrap. The sweater thing, forget it. It was a bad analogy. I realize that now after I walked down this path, but
If, say, they rode the lightning rail because it was their job.
that would be bad. That would be real bad. It probably rode real fast.
What do you think, Load? Your call.
Yeah.
I'll do it, but this seems like a very strange place to be operated on. And Gilmer's like, don't worry, I have a lair. I mean a workshop.
Not helping, Gilmer.
Fine. It's totally fine.
So our friend here seems to need some privacy. So if you want to go about your way, I will make sure that Load is completely taken care of.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
This may take a while. Load is like, I was hoping this would be quick. Oh, it might be.
We trust you, Gelmer.
We'll come back in a couple hours.
You'll do your best.
Load, if Gelmer gives you any issues, let me know.
I will do so.
Yeah, let him know.
And Gelmer's like, I'm fine. Everything's good. We're all good. And Gelmer like goes around the corner and gets out a cart and like wheels. Load is like, I can still walk. That's all right. It's better this way. So, what would the three of you like to do now, as you are waiting for
Close
Gelmer?
the door as the air wrench noises start. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa! Can't unsee that.
I think we might want to go start talking to some of our underworld contacts.
Yeah. Who would? Why this? See, the thing about this device, this threatens to like undermine like the very fabric of the Eberron.
Yep, the whole city.
The whole
Oh,
city,
yeah.
the whole city structure.
It's dangerous
Its
as hell.
economy, its politics, everything is built on this magic working like it does. Who would want to undermine that? And that's someone I would want to be very much afraid of if I didn't want to kick their ass so bad.
Yeah, this is not somebody who's got their head on straight. This is somebody who doesn't mind a lot of collateral damage.
Yeah.
So,
Like a lot.
as you're talking about running into underworld contacts, your associate once again pops in, and she looks over at Charples and says, "Hey, Charples, that thing you were asking me about, is it okay to bring it up now?"
Now's a good time.
Okay. So I have an artificer that is kind of on the outs with the law, and they would be willing to talk with all of you.
Why did we even go to Gelmer?
And you,
'Cause-
about this time, you hear like a saw. Go, "Zzzz."
Now it seems like we may have spread our eggs a little thin here, but hear me out. There's another Warforged that needs help, and we could maybe chase this down two paths at the same time.
Okay.
And it's important when writing articles to have more than one source of information to confirm the story. They taught me that in school or something, I think.
You went to school?
Well, I read a book about journalism.
All right, sure.
It was, a very famous halfling wrote it.
You're not talking about yourself?
I'm a gnome, not a halfling.
I'm sorry.
I know we all look alike to you, but I assure you we're all different.
I stopped paying attention after about
3 feet. Yeah, I get it. I get it. I know.
Yep.
Yeah, you should try bathing below the 3 feet line. You should get the odor from down here. It ain't the greatest. That's
I got a lot of hair.
and
And it doesn't wash out well. Soap, it's
I bet it got lonely.
besides the
Anyway,
natural musk is nice.
Can
it's
we
great.
like wrap this back around to the
Sorry.
non-disgusting topic of
Lorella, what do you got for us? Sorry about that.
So, this artificer works with some black market goods, making potions. They kind of specialize in alchemy, but they got their hands on a few other things. But they work in out of a building in the Fallen neighborhood. And the Fallen is like one of the worst slums in the Lower District.
Hmm.
I'd like to talk to this person.
Yeah. And she goes, there's an abandoned, it used to be kind of like just a storefront doctor's office, and that's what he's working out of. And she gives you the address to the place.
Right. I think we should go there and talk to this person and see if they know anything about this device or who would be It's got to be hard to make, right? I mean, there's got to be like a factory or a line or something to crank out these things.
I mean, you've got to have the resources and the skills. I suppose one person could be producing them over time.
I mean, they may have created a whole bunch of them in prep for their plan and then started doling them out.
Yeah, because, I mean, if you're going to disrupt the city, collect your protection money, whatever, you need to be able to hit multiple areas at once. So you have to have a base level of badness you can affect. Unless you start hitting a couple of key areas early and then use the knowledge of that and the fear of that to then extort money out of the people in other areas.
And your esteemed colleague looks at you and says, "Do you want me to go with? I could do introductions."
Yeah, you did the legwork. You should come along.
I'm gonna roll my eyes. Ugh. Fine.
Wonderful. I know just the outfit. And when she says outfit, she actually like changes her features to look like she's got kind of like shortcut hair now, and she looks like a human under completely different framework. She's a little bit shorter now, and so all I need is to throw something on over this, and I'll be ready to go. And she dives into like the back room, and you can hear her like throwing some stuff around, and she walks out wearing like this dingy drab thing over her. All right.
Okay.
Let's go.
So it takes you probably, at this point, you've been investigating for probably on about 2 hours or so. And you head over to, or actually this doesn't take you that long to get here, because the Center Bridge district is right across from the Black Arch Garrison, which is where the police are at. Then there's the Foundation Apartments, which is kind of, and then there's the Fallen Slump. So it's only about 3 neighborhoods over. So you head over there, and the Fallen is not a nice place at all. This is a largely abandoned district. It's got a reputation for like roaming gangs, and a lot of the buildings here are just taken over by whatever squatters kind of move into it. Every so often, the people from the Black Arch Garrison will just kind of go through and pacify the area, which is just kind of like going through and clubbing people and trying to scare them out of actually leaving the district or causing any issues outside of their district. So it's not a well taken care of area.
Yeah.
So she points out there's the shop right over there. Would you like me to make the introduction?
Yeah, let's do that. I don't want this one getting jumpy.
So she walks across, and you see like the half hanging off shingle that has the doctor's sign on it here. And she opens one door, and there's like one of those where it opens, and then there's another, a short hallway and another door. And she knocks on the door, and she goes, "Neng! Neng, it's me." "Who's me?" Tea. "All right, fine. What'd you get, like, bitten by a rat or something? Or you get something?" It's like, no, it's for something else. And she opens the door, and you see, sitting in this kind of a creepy alchemist lab, like, there's lots of candles, and there's indistinct brown and yellow substances, and the scent coming out of here is a little odd. And there's a figure that from the build you would assume is probably a dwarf. And whoever Nang is, they have a hood up covering their features. What do you need? And she goes, well, my friends need some information. And she sets something on the counter and slides it over to him. And I knew you would be good for providing that information. I'll let them take the lead now. And she kind of steps out of the way.
Looking for some information about the capabilities and origins of this device. Don't turn the handle.
If you can avoid it.
And you notice Nang is looking at it for a minute, and then he grabs his hood and throws it back. And you see he has a beard, but the beard is an odd, like, dark blue color, which is not particularly common among dwarves. But you also notice that one of his eyes is huge compared to the other eye, and there are two, like, insectoid arms that come out off of his shoulders and pick up the box and hold it in front of him. Kithra, you immediately know that Nang is probably a ruin-bound dwarf. So they have been touched by some of the inhabitants of the Khyber, where nasty things have bled into the dwarven areas.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I know exactly what this is. I don't know if it's wise to get into this situation, but yep, definitely know what it is.
Tell us about it.
What do all? You work for a newspaper like your friend T here?
That's right. That's what we do.
Well, this is going to be a story for you. You know that story that she broke about the military surplus being sold to the garrison?
Oh boy.
Yeah. These music boxes got dumped onto the black market when the watch was trying to clear their names before they could be investigated any further for that instance. There's no telling who they sold all these things to. They were pretty desperate to not have that story break.
Awesome.
Now, as to where they got them from, I couldn't tell you, but that's exactly how these things got on the street. Nasty bit of work. Rumor has it these are probably cast off House Caniff experiments from the war, which you already heard from Gilman.
Yeah. I'll look surprised anyway.
What?
I mean, if I had to guess, either someone in House Caniff is trying to turn a quick buck, or somebody found a warehouse full of these things and decided to start selling as much military hardware as they found in that warehouse.
So
either way, probably not good.
This has been assembled for a while. This wasn't put together last week, then.
Oh no, this is. I would have.
How old do you think it is?
If I had to guess, probably goes back at least 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's entirely possible that whoever grabbed these things and threw them out there didn't understand their full capabilities.
It's possible. But here's what we know. We know House Caniff probably made some of these, shelved them. They went into a warehouse, and then somebody selling the warehouse wanted to either get rid of the evidence or wanted to make some money on it. So I had to figure out where that actually happened. These things have been built for a while, and now they're out in the hands of the general public. You know, the trustworthy types that buy a lot of ex-military surplus gear, people we can really count on to do the right thing.
Yeah, exactly. And If you don't mind me saying so, I'll volunteer this too. I don't know if the people on the street where these things got dumped were completely oblivious, but I think from buzz on the street, these things have been hurting Warforged, right?
Yep.
The watch was keeping these as anti-Warforged devices in case they needed to put down any groups of Warforged.
The watch had them? Have them?
They had them. They dumped them onto the streets when they started getting investigated for having military-grade hardware.
Well,
Oh,
well,
can't
that'll
say
make
I'm
an interesting
surprised.
part of our story, won't it?
Damn it.
I mean, I don't want to be happy that we've uncovered a line on corruption, but
Yeah,
it's kind of my bread and butter.
it's a big story.
It
A
is.
really big story.
We just now need to tie it to somebody who's a big fish so that we can really hang him out to dry.
Before we do that, how do we help the Warforged who are affected by this thing? Do you have any idea?
That I couldn't tell you. I just know that there were some rumors that this thing could cause damage to them. I didn't even know what kind of damage it would do. I figured it would just, physically cause damage to them, not cause any long-term, like, in other words, I figured it was either boom, you're dead, or I didn't realize it was a progression thing.
You interested in this at all?
I really don't want to get involved with anything that has to do with the watch. I'm not going to be much good as an informant if I do get to public.
There's a Warforged who needs some help because of this thing.
I'll make you a deal. If you bring them here, I'll take a look. But I'm not leaving my my little area here.
Yeah, it seems wise. I don't blame you. All right, I think if it comes down to that, that's what we'll do. But we'll get back to you. Anything else you know about this thing we should know? Anything?
No, all I know is rumors and what people on the street are saying, but I know it's bad business. Oh, and also, neither here nor there, but these watch officers, they are really paranoid about Warforged. They heard something about some Warforged agitator out in the wilderness called the Lord of Blades, and ever since then, this thing going through all the watches that all of the Warforged are going to turn on us someday. So you have to plan for them to go bad or something. It's a paranoia.
That's why they had the devices, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar. They're gonna pay for that. All right. Thank you for your help here.
Yep, not a problem. Just remember, you were never here.
I was never here.
Never
Also,
were.
watch your step on the way out. And as he points, you see like all of these cables leading to all of these boxes that have like, what look like crossbow bolts with like, different wires sticking out of them or chemicals on them. And they're like multiple ones that you notice all these cables come up to his desk. So he can pull basically any of these and fire which ones he wants to from this desk.
You expecting trouble?
I always expect trouble. It's a shitty neighborhood.
You have a safe day.
Yep. Oh, by the way, need code names for you if you come back, if she's not with you.
Right. Code names. I see. Do we get to pick our code names?
It's probably easier for you to remember.
I want to be
Mr.
T-Bone.
Black.
I got a Mr. Black on another job.
Mr. Black. I want to be T-Bone.
What about you?
I don't know. Why do I need a code name?
Your Flex.
Sure.
And what's your code name? Are you going to be Glorfindel?
This is my business. I don't need the code name. You come to my door and give me the code name, then I know not to pull the strings.
Right. Got it.
All right. Well, I'll see you when you bring back your person. Remember your code names. I'm not letting you in without them.
Right.
All
I'm not
right.
going to forget T-Bone.
All right. So, what would actually first? Lorella looks at all of you and goes, "What in the hell have you gotten into with this story?"
Well, I'm glad you put it that way because I think it would be best if we probably chased this whole story down and pursued it.
Well, I mean, the nice thing is clearly I can get a byline on this because it's obviously dovetailing with the story that I broke about the military hardware being misappropriated to the Watch.
Keep dreaming. That's more of a footnote.
Well, you have your leads and I have mine.
All right. Okay. I
It'd be a
get it.
shame if someone would have break this story before my good friend here.
We'll see you back at the office. But Lorella, watch yourself out here. It's getting real.
Oh, I know, but I can take care of myself. But thank you for the concern.
I just don't want the paper to lose a way average reporter.
You say that, but someday I'm going to be running that paper, and for a minute her face looks like the editor-in-chief, and then she takes off.
Yeah, only. And she walks
that
away. I'm
is
like,
why I always just shudder and walk away when she flirts with me.
it's so weird.
It just
How do we know she's not already running it?
we've seen them in the same room. We've seen them talking to each other.
Have we?
Believe me, that's not as hard to fake as you would think.
I do not have time for conspiracy theories when we have an actual conspiracy of us.
Oh, goodness.
Oh,
Right. So we got Warforged, we got Corrupt City Watch, we got we got weapons that go make the magic go boom.
I mean, this story's got everything. We've got effectively, what's the term? Christ, the hate crimes. We've got hate crimes
We
mixed
knew.
in with poorly kept / illegal military hardware being funneled into the Watch and then very quickly unfunneled out into everything else. We've got a protection racket. It's
we've got drama. We've got pathos.
Yeah. Well, I say one thing we could do is we could get a story out today about the protection and the
I think
devices.
we lead with that. It's a good
Yeah.
startup. Because I mean, everything else dovetails into that nicely. We can really build this up over the course of the week.
And then next we dig into the Watch. We figure out how they found these things and who tipped
Yeah,
them off.
provided they don't kill us first.
Yeah.
Well,
That's a thing. So
It's all right.
Yeah.
I won't let them kill you.
yeah, I know I protest a lot when the chief tells me to keep Kithra nearby, but this is some shit, guys. Like
we
As
dig
soon as
into
somebody
this.
finds out,
there are a lot of powerful people in a lot of areas that are not going to want
No.
what we have to say be printed.
Kithra, you're up for this?
I'm always up for it.
Mac, you're up for this?
Yeah, I'm here to kick the beehives and see what falls out.
Then
So
let's
The
go write a
hornet's
story.
nest. You shouldn't kick beehives.
No,
Bees
no.
are nice. They're gentle. They give us honey.
Honey, and honey is important for the tea, and I need that.
It is.
I think we
And
should go
they're
write a story.
pollinators. They help the entire ecosystem.
For a brief moment, like Mac realizes that he spent too much time around Gelmer.
Sure.
That wasn't a good analogy at all.
No.
Whatever works. I'm happy for you.
So, who would like to take the lead on writing the story? Because I want to see how it's received.
I was gonna say, I think if we're going to do the corruption and no, sorry, not corruption. If we're going to do the street crime angle, that's probably Mac. And once we get up into some larger like military hardware stuff, then we can
Yeah,
like
it
Charples can chime in with that as like
it does
magic
seem like
expert.
Mac is kind of the crime beat, and Charples is more of the conspiracy, shocking secrets type.
Okay, Bernstein, you're up.
Thank God I'm not Woodward.
Oh my
God, that son of a bitch.
Yep.
To prepare for this game, I went and watched The Paper, All the President's Men. I watched all these 70s newspaper movies till we could have the session.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
All right. So if I could have Mac give me a D20 roll, and we're going to see how well this story goes over. We know Mac is a good writer. This is just kind of seeing how the public takes this.
18.
Nice.
So there's some fire and brimstone here.
Yeah, I mean, it is well received. It didn't cause any particular problems for the paper, not yet at least. So people are willing to read a crime story and say, yeah, that crime, that's definitely a problem. So that goes over fairly well. Gelmer gets back to all of you. So I had to take a break because I had to make sure the presses were working for the evening edition. But it's okay. He's fine. Lode is sleeping it off right now. And in the other room, you hear Lode saying, I don't sleep.
All right. Well,
All right. It was a figure of speech. I meant sleep as in relaxing. It's a bad analogy. I understand. So,
Most of the Warforged I know don't relax. They're actually pretty bad at that. Anyway, continue.
All right. So I managed to get his front plating off. I noticed, okay, it's going to sound bad, but I cut something out. Hear me out. I'm almost 98% certain this is not supposed to be in there.
Okay.
And they set this this polished sphere, and like Warforged are built to have certain modules put onto them, but this kind of seems like it has some similar traits to that, except normally they aren't completely internalized. It's more like it's put on the outside and kind of forms into them, and this is something that went inside. I don't know what that's for. I don't even think that has anything to do with him not feeling well, but that's not supposed to be in there.
That is unusual.
Yes, it is.
You mind if I take that?
No, that's fine.
but you have no idea what it is.
I don't actually. Like I said, it looks like it. Whoever built this is used to making components for Warforged, though.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if this is good news or not. I think if our Warforged friend spends enough time away from any magical emanations, their own aura is going to get repaired over time. But they have to stay as far away from anything magical as possible, which is probably not extremely easy in Sharn, but...
Like in the
Hold on.
forest,
So
maybe?
you're saying that unrelated magic is going to keep them sick?
Yeah, basically, once their aura is frayed, the other magical emanations just kind of pull away at the It's like this thing. Okay, there's this theory, and it's probably a completely crackpot theory, but there's this theory that there's these little tiny particles, and these particles are attracted to each other, and when enough of them get attracted to each other, they make a bigger thing. But sometimes when those things are not attached to something else, as soon as there's something else that could have that thing attached to it, it zooms over and attaches to that thing. Like they want to be attached to things. And probably just a completely crackpot idea, but it's like that.
I get it.
Did anybody get that? Because that was
He's-
about
I-
the worst.
Not even a little bit.
I think I can phrase it differently, which is his magic life force is weak, and there's other things interfering with that ability to get himself back to one piece. So put him in the middle of the forest, and then he can kind of do his own thing, which is weird. That's weird.
How do we get load someplace that doesn't have any magic when we're surrounded by magic every day?
Go to the country to recuperate.
Yes, we fetch Worthington, the driver, to take him there.
And then in the other room you hear, better question, how does Lode make a living when he can't go to his job?
Your job will kill you, Lode. You can't go back. Sorry.
Capitalism is an evil.
It's fine. Totally fine.
I know some Warforged like philosophy, but I really need money.
Not until you're healed.
Very pragmatic. You know, this would not be an issue if there was a comprehensive, care bill
Single
Well,
player.
Universal
Yeah.
basic
for
income.
the veterans of the last war.
Yeah.
Veterans should be taken care of. I agree
Yeah.
completely.
Support our
So I
veterans.
think,
That would be-
Lode, we got to get you out of town. Sorry. It's if you go back to your job, you spend another day in that train, you're gonna.
Yeah.
pull yourself to
Load, do you
pieces.
think you could carry heavy things on a farm? Because I might know some people.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, we'll see what we can do about getting you a farm job. Right, because that covers everything. You're out away. You're amongst nature and living things.
That's right.
All
And if
that
it's
life energy, and you're
we can
away
find
from
an
magic.
organic farm where they don't use machinery, magic machinery, and just it'll be fine.
And Gelmer's like, well, the other thing is, and being this close to the printing press, probably not so good, but there is, and Load is completely not at this point, but there might come a point when things are so unraveled that they won't heal. Like, Load's still fine, but I'm just saying that somebody else, if
So
they're-
when you say unraveled, do you mean they're just going to fall apart?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Probably not so much like fall apart, like arms and legs fall off, but more like all the components are going to get extremely brittle and start breaking off into different bits and things like that. And like Load has walked back out in the room, and as far as his jaw will actually hinge, he's just kind of like,
Yeah, we don't want Lode to have Warforged. Sounds like Warforged leprosy almost. We don't want that. We want you to be healthy.
Yeah.
Let's get you someplace safe.
okay. So I am going to say, basically, as long as you have a good idea for where you want him to go, we won't necessarily play that out. We'll just, send him on his way. He'll kind of like wave to you as the cart leaves town, heading to.
A completely mundane cart drawn
Yes.
by like a horse.
Or a donkey.
Donkey.
Oh, a donkey. It's great.
And I'm going to say, are you all okay with being at like one of the gates that winds out of town?
Yeah.
All right. So.
Kind of thing that's like the Emerald City Gate in the Wizard of Oz almost, where it's gate then green. It's the contrast is very stark.
All right. So, actually, it was probably a little nerve-wracking to get there, but
Yeah.
the Rowan's Gate is the caravans district, which goes out on a road that runs parallel, but not too close to the lightning rail. So, as you're there, kind of watching all of this, you all hear this noise behind you, and there is this thing. and you're fairly certain it looks like a washing machine, but it is getting closer to you and making strange noises.
Uh-oh.
Like almost growling.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So it looks like a big one of those organ grinders.
Ordinarily, you don't see this kind of behavior in a major appliance.
Is that a?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you
It's a dishwasher.
So the way that this thing is definitely hostile towards you, and the way that combat works is, since you are not surprised, it was not able to ambush you because angry washing machines, oddly, are not particularly stealthy. All of the player characters will get to go first, and then it gets to go if you have not dealt with it by the end of that point in time. So unless you have a special ability that allows you to automatically hit, normally an attack will require rolls. So, who would like to go first in this instance with the vicious washing machine bearing down on you? All right.
That would be me.
What would you like to do?
Oh, I just sharpened this axe. Let's see if I can dull it. So this is a big washing machine looking.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it harvest gold or avocado? That's a reference for all you kids from the 70s out there.
Clearly, avocado was,
But yeah, it's got like a big drum, and it's got wheels that it's moving on, but it's got an arm where it like picks up laundry and puts it in its own basin, and that arm is like waving around like a vicious weapon at the moment.
Yes, of course. Yeah, so I see this thing and I'm like, oh, it's on. It's on. And I wild attack.
Okay. And what does that give you?
I attack with reckless power, disregarding my safety. I have to describe a signature style for this attack and what it looks like when I make it. And then I roll the die, and the little table says what happens.
All right.
So when I wild attack, I try to get some high ground. So I will like kip up off of things and like, like little parkour action, whatever. And like bing, bing, bing. And then up into the air with an overhand swing, one-handed because I've got a shield. But I like over the top of my head and I come down with a war cry of pure unbridled fury.
I like the parkour charge as somebody that is used to fighting in a city. That's a nice touch there.
Yeah. And I strike the beast. That is not good.
consult the table?
Yes. I rolled a 6. On a
Table
6
of
to 10,
shame.
I deal double damage to the enemy, but they counterattack me.
All right. So, how much damage did you do?
That is an excellent, excellent question. Which I'm not 100% sure what the answer is.
I think like the default for most one-handed weapons is 2.
That sounds good.
All right.
So that's 4 because I did double.
All right. So you crack this thing good, but it's still upright and churning, but you put a serious dent and a crack in it. Some of the washing fluid is leaking out of it. But its arm whips around. Ooh. The arm whips around, and it hits an 18. So it is a standard success.
Oof.
And because this is a singular dangerous opponent, that does 4 points of damage to Kithra.
Woo.
So
Oof.
this gigantic mechanized arm just slams into you hard. Who would like to go next?
I can go next.
All right. What would you like to
I'm going to just move a little bit to the side to get a clear shot. I'm going to cast Scintillate, a 0-point spell.
do? Okay.
You extend your fingers outward, streaking a bolt of sparks shooting towards your target. Roll the die to see if it hits successfully. It's a 2-point hit of crackling energy. Or I can make it harmless, but I'm going to definitely not make it harmless. So I roll my die.
All right.
That's a 7.
Is there a special table for this attack, or just?
There is not a special table. It is a regular attack.
All right.
Standard attack.
So with a 7, for your tough choice, would you like this to have a chance to swing at you, or would you like to do half damage?
Half damage.
Okay.
And I shoot this out of like my pen. I pull my pen out of my notebook and I kind of use it as a wand and let the bolt go. And I'm not great with it.
All right. So you zap it, and you see like the energy kind of courses through it, and like some bolts pop off of it. And now, what would Mac like to do?
I get Max just gonna pull his one of his daggers and charge in.
All right.
He doesn't really have anything else. He is not a combat monster. That's a 5.
All right.
Which I believe is actually a miss, right? Like 5 and under.
Mm-hmm.
Ouch.
Yes, but it was not a catastrophe, though.
Oh, hey.
So you just
Yay.
kind of overextend yourself and do not connect with this thing, and it swings over to the side. And now, I think since you're right next to it, on its turn, it's just going to take a swing at Mac.
Yep.
No, it isn't.
Oh, what are you doing?
I'm spending a point to use my intercept ability.
Ooh.
The nearby NPC is about to attack someone. You may rush to intercept the attack. The NPC makes their attack on you instead. And when you intercept the attacker immediately becomes affected by your provoke ability, which is make a nearby creature angry at you by saying something or making a rude gesture. The target must be able to understand your intent. For the next minute, the target focuses its attention on you, ignoring all others. The effect ends if the target is hit by another creature or if hostilities subside.
All right.
I jump in front of Mac and be like, oh, no, you don't. And now it's focusing on me.
So you jump in there. The arm goes swinging for Mac. You get in the way, and it bounces off of your shield. You take no damage because it rolled a 5.
Yeah.
But now the angry washing machine is focused direly upon Kithra.
Yeah.
So that was its turn. Who would like to go first the second round of this combat?
I think it's a cool story if Mac, like, having been shoved out of the way and knocked to the ground by Kithra, like, sort of hops up and jumps onto the back of the washing machine.
All right. That sounds good.
That's a 4.
So Mac jumps up there and starts like trying to stab places, but you're not stabbing
Dink,
good places
dink,
to actually
dink.
damage this thing. But you know,
People are much softer.
I'm gonna say that Mac is up there. You just didn't injure it. All right, who would like to go next?
All right, I'm going to whack it again.
All right.
This time I'm just going to give it a regular old whack. Oh, that's a 7.
All right. So here's your question. Would you like to do full damage, or would you like to do half damage? And if you do full damage, it's going to get another swing at you.
Oh, I'll do full damage and take the hit.
All right. Let's see how it does. Ooh,
Not a good
completely
sign.
random chance, and I am rolling well. So, unfortunately, Kithra, you take another 4 points of damage from this thing.
Ouch, bro. All right, that I felt.
Oh, yeah. Charples, what would you like to do?
I'm going to scintillate once again.
All right.
This time I get a 4.
We were so good rolling
Yeah.
everything until we got into combat.
Yep.
We're defeated by a major appliance.
Oh, we're not defeated yet.
Not yet, not yet. Kithra is almost defeated. We're fine. We're great.
And unfortunately, it has to attack Kithra now. It cannot do anything else. So,
Quick system question for you.
yes.
Is this thing considered a commoner or minion?
No.
Okay.
This is a pivotal fight.
I'll say.
So, ooh. Ooh.
Just that.
No, this is a good ooh.
Oh, good.
Kithra, it winds up and swings at you, and it bounces off the shield. It hits your shield really hard, and you feel it in your shoulder, but it doesn't do any damage. But its arm gets stuck in the pavement for a few seconds. And since it rolled a 1, I would like to offer you the chance to counterattack it.
Hell yeah.
I would also actually like to activate an ability
All right.
because I have sneak attack.
Ooh, nice.
Once per round, when a nearby foe attacks a creature other than you, you may exploit their focus. You may
Nice.
immediately move behind them to perform one of the following actions. I can spend 1 action point to make a basic attack against them.
Okay.
Nice. So we both get to hit it.
Yep.
That is an 18.
Ooh, nice.
So my dagger would just deal 2 damage.
All right. It's still functioning, but it looks like it is in bad shape. Kithra?
I rolled a 7 again.
So, would you like to do half damage, or would you like to open yourself up to another attack?
I'm reckless.
I'm just going to say this. It's in really bad shape.
Yes, I'm giving it the full shot.
Okay.
Ah, the Chief's going to be so mad at us.
I mean, it's her job to
So,
get in the way.
Kithra,
I know.
you're going to be at 0, but you did damage it before you went down. So how does this catastrophic, you two hitting each other and taking both of you out, look like?
So I drive my axe into a particularly vulnerable spot, which causes an explosion of whatever is magically animating this device, which flings me back, and I strike something very hard.
All right, so yeah, you carve this in and you hit the magic control box, and the control box explodes, and you fly back and hit the wall of a building really hard, like you crack the window next to it, and then just slump over onto the ground. And on top of that, we get a slow motion shot of the washing machine spinning around on one wheel and turning over and falling. And through one of the cracks in the side of it, detergent just starts like flowing out of it like dark blue blood.
Looks like we turned the tide of battle on that one. Well, I thought you'd all cheer.
Oh.
Kithra in the washing machine at the city gate.
When Kithra tumbled ride.
So you are at death's door. If you are hit at 0, you would have to make a check to see if you survive. But because nothing is going to hit you at the moment, you are currently just at 0.
All right.
Okay, let's. Oh. I'm
Yeah.
torn. Can you investigate this thing? Like, find out what's going on with it? What might have driven it to a murderous rage of appliance hell? Like,
don't have
Kithra's
anything.
hurt. We need to get her to a doctor.
I agree. Let's tend to Kithra first. This thing's not going anywhere. Let's see if anything we can do for Kithra immediately. If she's stable, then I'll try to figure out what this thing is. But I don't. Let me put it this way: if it was programmed to kill us, it may not be anything unusual about it. It would just be doing its thing. So maybe nothing to discover than the fact that we made somebody mad.
Well, sounds like we've been doing our job.
Yeah.
So here is a question I would like to throw out to Ange.
Yes.
Ange, are you still thinking of making a doctor?
Yeah, I kind of made a doctor.
All right.
I kind of now this would, you know, for the future, this would probably mean I made a forensic necromancer.
I like the sound of that.
Well, that's good because Kithra's got no hit points, so that's probably going to work out really well.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think this is probably a good
It's
point
right
at which
in your wheelhouse,
Yeah,
like
we
at the
can-
moment.
we can bring Ange's character in on this one. So, being that we're almost at our regular stopping point, and being that that would be a great point to bring Ange's character in next time, I think we're probably going to call it there if that sounds good for everybody.
Sounds great.
Sure.
Sounds good.
All right. I need to look up, I can't remember the exact number. You get a certain number of action points for completing that. And also, because we played a session, everyone gets to pick a new power.
All right.
Are the rules about which ones we select then advancement rules based on our chosen path?
Yeah, you have to have every power previous to it in its track.
But you can start another path if you wanted to.
Okay.
You just can't skip ones in line in the same path. So, on that note, I think we're going to go ahead and sign off. Does anyone have any last minute things they would like to say before we sign off for the evening? PK, do you have anything you'd like to say?
No, I'm good. Like I had a good time, and I was really surprised that I was rolling well on a D20, and then we got into combat, and I was like, "Yep, there we go. That's
The universe has restored the
Yep,
balance.
that's my experience. Like, I learned to be a min-maxer in 3.5, not because that's what the game wanted me to do, but because I cannot roll for shit.
I need to make it numerically impossible for me to fail.
Yep. Yep. There was my character who only needed to roll a 2 in order to survive the DC 21 Fortitude death save, and failed.
I'm just going to say I don't miss seeing difficulty classes in the 40s.
Yeah.
All right. Bob, do you have any last minute things you'd like to say before we sign off?
No, I think I'm good. That was a lot of fun. Thoroughly enjoyed the session.
Thank you. I had a lot of fun running for all of you. You guys are great. John, do you have any last minute things you would like to say?
No, just thank you for having me here. It's been a great session. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm sure everyone will rush out and buy the copy of Blood on the Wand by Charples. Kithra.
Yes.
Like and subscribe.
And Ange, since you're half of our boss at Gnome Stew, how did I perform?
I wouldn't put you in the stew.
Awesome.
And
Yay.
I kind of love Gilmer.
All right. Well, on that note, I am going to go ahead and sign off. Everyone, if you've been watching this or listening, thank you for tuning in. And be good to each other and find all of the good reasons to game, because there's lots of them. Good night.